Hi, I'm Lucas Mack, and I'm on a mission to see the hurting get healed and the healed go out and heal others, in order for all of us to experience the true love and light we desire. This podcast is me sharing my journey with you, so you don't feel alone in your journey. Welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. Hello, my brothers and sisters, and welcome back to another episode of the Golden Rule Revolution. I am Lucas Mack. Such a pleasure having you join. I hope you're well. I hope you are finding peace, love, and joy through this most amazing time in human history, in mankind's history. In fact, I'm going to do an episode later this week about hue man, the shade of man, the color of man. And that'll be a fun episode. But today, before I ever get to that, I'm excited to bring Jennifer Watson back to the podcast. Jennifer and I are doing a summit with Tracy Clark that's free to everyone. You'll hear about that's happening this Thursday. You can sign up. I'll put the login or link information in the show notes, and we'll talk about it at the end of this podcast. But I'm excited. Jennifer is amazing. She is a pure light being, and I just had a great time talking to her, so I hope you enjoy. Well, sis, welcome back, third time on the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Lucas. I love creating magic with you and just co-creating with you, so anytime I can get on with you, I'm there.
Everyone listening, we were just talking about Jennifer and I are just being right now. You and I we're just in this place of be, which is so beautiful. And a lot of people I was on a call yesterday with someone who was just amped. And I'm like, you don't have to be like that. And he's like, wait, what? We're trying to solve all. I said, you can just detach.
Yeah.
What will it add to you if these things happen that you're working for?
Yeah.
Will it make you sleep deeper?
Yeah.
Will make you, get the immune system boosted to the highest degree. Like, what are we really working for right now? So it's fun to just be with you.
Yeah. It's so funny you should say that, Lucas, because one of the questions I've been asking a lot of my clients, but my friends too, because a lot of them are ambitious.
Yeah.
We just said, I'm ambitious about being right now.
Yeah.
My old life is ambition. And by the way, ambition is not bad, but I'm really ambitious about being. And there's a lot of power in that, because what I'm finding is all the stuff that I wanted when I was trying to be ambitious are actually happening because I'm not trying to be ambitious toward them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
It's such a paradox. The last year for me and for my clients, I've seen so many beautiful paradoxes that if we're willing to go down the rabbit hole, it actually totally makes sense. And one of the things I often ask my friends and my colleagues and the people I coach is what you just said. They're so ambitious about this stuff that they want to do. And I'm like, what if, instead of saying what I want, what if all that was taken away from you? What if your health, your money, your family, your prestige, whatever that is, and for some that has happened this last year, what if that was taken away? What would be left of you? And that actually, when they do that, like they really dig deep, it's kind of uncomfortable. It's like, wait a minute, they really get who they are.
Yes.
They really get that. And when I have done that with myself and with my clients this year, and just in group settings, the power they have from what you just said, to disattach from all that's out there, which, by the way, we're human. I want more money. I want this. There's certain things I love, but when I detach from them, I put them in this healthy space, and it doesn't have any power over me.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing, is what is real freedom? Is freedom having the things we're working for so that we think we won't have the stress, or is freedom saying, no, thank you, I'm not even going to engage in the first place? The other night we had friends over, and we just had really beautiful conversations. I was talking to them, like I mentioned, that I was kind of like, everyone listening, I went down the most wild I mean, truly, I've gone down. I have the Great Awakening map right behind me. I've gone down
Love
all
it.
that. And what I went down was like more wild and deep than all that stuff. And I joked around. I became a nihilist in one weekend to a Zen Buddhist, to all these things. I just like was exploring all these different realities. But with these friends, I was sharing this rabbit hole that I was going down. And then I said, you know, it's all fascinating, regardless of what truth is and where
Right.
truth is, we don't actually know how to be human. And what I mean by that
Mm,
is I don't I don't know how to grow plants. Like, yeah,
right.
I can grow a little,
Right.
I have some herb
Right.
garden and some potato, but I don't really know how to sustainably live on this planet.
Right.
And I was like, that's such a bizarre
Right.
concept. We keep working for these things in the matrix system, but with the earth,
Yeah.
that which we've come from, that which we are part of, we actually don't know how to live as humans
Right.
on this earth. Isn't that bizarre?
Oh,
Like, it's so weird. I'm like,
it, it is so bizarre. And going off that, I know you talk a lot about love.
yeah,
And you talk about, well, we say there's love and unconditional love, but actually love is unconditional
that's right.
love, right?
That's right. Yep.
Well, I will say this about being human. I just did a talk on this yesterday with a bunch of high biz executives on tapping into their superpowers. I did this whole presentation. And at the end, I said, actually, I just lied to you. I literally said that. And they're like, what? Like, they're all pumped up. And I'm like, your biggest superpower is being human. So let's get back to that. So I named some of the things. This is so funny, Lucas. This is why you and I are part of family somehow. But I literally started giving examples of just trying to tap into being human again. Hiking, walking, growing things, connecting,
Yes.
doing dances with people. This is what they did in tribal days. But I
Yeah.
started giving examples of that and how that actually amps them up in these other areas of their life. And they're like, what? And it totally stupefied them. I love that you said that, but the superhuman power to me is really just wrapped up into human, because being human, that's your superhuman power.
Yeah.
But we don't know even what that means anymore. So I love that you just said that. Love it.
So interesting. Two people. So I shared this. I shared this deep rabbit hole that I went down, and I shared it with my brother and my wife, and both of them said the same thing back to me. They said, "Well, then what's the point? What's the point of everything? What's the point of anything?"
Yeah.
And I said, "This is the point. To be here now with each other, to like, the more I look into this morning, I took my youngest on a daddy-daughter date, and I'm out walking with her. It's sunny, and I'm like, why don't I remember? Why? How do we not retain memories of relationship, but we can retain memories of the business meetings we were in, the deals that we were done, the strategies, the courses, the classes, which don't really make us more human, but I can't retain how my daughter's hair looked on her shoulder and like the fun questions she asked.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I've put me into a system that never gave back to me, only took from me. The only return that I thought I was going to get was money,
right,
and more time. But the reality is I have more time when I don't put in the system that takes from me. So I don't know. These are very like existential like thoughts, but we are returning back to being human. We are here right now.
And Lucas, I've had, and I will say, the extreme honor and excruciating painful moment of being by two very close family members' bedsides when they were passing into this next life. And bringing up your point, your family said, what's the point then if we don't get the money, the prestige? Everybody's number 1 and 2 question, okay, and I witnessed that on your deathbed, you're on your way out, is not about the money in the bank account.
Yeah.
It's about what you just said. The point of, they were like, you know what, my mom, my dad and my older sister, their first question was, did I love you enough, Jennifer? Did I love my kids enough? Did I make a difference for you? Number 1 for both of them. And I just grabbed their hand. I'm like, yes, you 100% did. And they did. And again, that is the point. And going back to being human and looking at your daughter and standing in the sun and just being present in that and just being, I think maybe we can get more memories of that. Maybe we can kind of let go of these numbers and stats. And, and you guys, by the way, I'm not saying not to have desires and human desires. That's part of us being human. But as we all know, at least us Americans, we go high and right on everything. And we've lost the point of just being human and doing these things that actually by the end of your life. So to answer the question to your family, I'm like, well, what do most people ask about at the end of their life? Nothing about what we quote supposedly want.
Right.
It's always about love or connection, or did I make a difference to the people I cared about the most? So again, that would be my answer. Like, that's what the point is. It's always been the point. And just the paradox of all of that is when you care less about that, you do seem to get more. I see so many successful people that, like you, Lucas, have just gotten to this, I'm being human again. I'm going back to connection in real love, like unconditional, real love in receiving and giving. And you know what they're getting? More money. They're getting more connections. They're getting all this stuff. So it's just interesting, right?
It is interesting. Like, we were talking about, I've been doing the Awaken Soul with Aaron, Scotty, and I've met these people all of a sudden that, I mean, I'm trying less and I'm meeting more people that are so beautiful. And I'm like, this is really cool. Where before I was trying so hard to be I was trying to find myself, really. That's why I've done all these different careers and different stuff. I'm like, where is love? And I've just found that love is always here. It's just never there. Love is never going to be found there. It's always going to be found here. And when we just realize that there is nothing to do, say, think, be, have, no, it's just here.
I find that we often justify our way out of love. We justify by time. I don't have time, or my life, I have all these wounds, or it doesn't matter. Personal, what's going on out there. We justify our way out of not doing what we know we need to do, because actually being is very scary for a lot of people. Lucas, right? It's very feeling, it's connecting to your deeper self. It's navigating that depth for you and ultimately others. And people are so scared of that intimacy piece. And we know people, I'm so honored to have people like you that are willing to navigate that depth of feeling whatever, but feeling that true deep love. And that is so amazingly important. And I find we just justify away, whether it be physical things, we justify old wounds, or we think we're a piece of junk, or it doesn't, we justify ourselves and we get further away from love. We get further away from being. But if you can just stop, drop, and roll, right? Just stop, stop. Like I said, I kid about this all the time, like people paying me supposedly good money to tell them to stop. I don't know, but when they do it, it's just like they're just being, right? And then they roll with it because it feels so good, right?
And then everything comes into alignment, and then they get the things that they want or were seeking, from that.
Yeah, and I think another thing besides justification, we spend so much time berating ourselves on our pain, whatever that is. That we have from our own pain, from someone else that has given us pain, as a man, that we berate ourselves on the pain. We don't see the love of God. We don't see the love of the creator. We don't see the love of ourselves, which we're the reflection of creation. So, so I just feel justification and pain has come up a lot with my clients, and honestly with me. And I love that I'm surrounded with people that remind me that, no, let's stay here. Let's stay here. And actually, I think it's a lot more ambitious not to be ambitious and just be, because it's uncomfortable for a while. It's vulnerable. It's a little bit we're stepping in boundaries back to being human. And that, you're right, we don't even know what that means, but that's uncomfortable, right?
Totally. As you're sharing that, my wife and I, Lauren and I, had a conversation this morning, and I did this post, and I was reminded of it this morning as we were talking. And I said, context is kindness. And we're in a time right now, like, I think, to reflect what you're just saying, when we can be we can observe
Yeah.
the full context of what's going on around us.
Yes.
But when we're in the system or in this doing or in this fear mode, the aperture on the camera, it like tightens up and you can't see around you. And it doesn't matter if people believe this fairy tale, like Dr. Tommy John calls this whole fairy tale story that's being sold to everyone, and they're in this fear, and then they want everyone to do exactly as they do.
Right.
But it could be that example, or it could just be we want people to agree with us. But context allows us to broaden and say, oh, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And wherever you're coming from, I'm here in this place. We can coexist together.
Yeah.
That's the humanness. It allows freedom of being wherever someone is, not forcing anyone to do anything against their will, and not allowing us to fall into the system that is tricking us into we think we're free, but we're not. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's this, it's like a dance is always happening. And if we aren't observing the dance, we're missing we're missing the beauty of it all.
We are missing our freedom. You know, we live inside this box every day. We do. We live inside of it. And that's where all the messed upness happens, people. And this is the irony, because again, the paradox, I use this. I use this to connect with people, right? But you have got it, like I said, the dance of you have to extract yourself, purposely be aware until it becomes behavior to pull out. And that's why I'm always such a big believer. The way I gain my freedom every day is I start my day in freedom, Lucas. I start my day in freedom. I pull out my Bible. I do prayer meditation. I visualize how can I be a conduit of love, and how can I receive that same amount back? Like that, I have to start that way. And then I connect with someone I care about. I love you. You know, my mom and I, we often say to each other, it's a big thing in our family, I love you. You're my best day. You know, and we are each other's best day, because that again is being human. And that pulls me back into humanness, which will always be my superpower. Always, always, always. And we're losing that. But I would say to encourage everybody, you know, don't worry about your gifts. They're going to come out again, but pull back into being human and unplug from this in the morning so it doesn't take you. Because if you start in freedom, you're going to be more resilient, I think, to things during the day that I don't care if you call it brainwashing, fear, whatever that's coming your way. You're going to be more resilient to not letting that freedom being taken away from you. And then the second thing is, I'm like you, Lucas. I've had to go through some tough things where I've had to let people, places, you know, things go this year that I hold dear. But I knew that it was taking away my humanness and my freedom. And that, to me, being human and freedom in the middle of that is love.
Yes.
Right? God wanted us to love each other. He wanted us to be free to give that to each other. So I encourage all of you, no matter what your goals are, or I don't know who I am, or, you know, if you're overwhelmed with a bunch of things, start your day in freedom. Because this isn't, you know, it's where we create a space right now. But this is just, to me, a tool. But where I have to be in my power is outside that. And then if I feel yucky, many of us have our days where we're just feeling low energy. I make sure I'm definitely off this. Like, I need a break. You guys, I take breaks off media, social media, every 7 to 10 days, like a full day. Then every 4 weeks, I'll do 3 to 4 days. I do a detox for 2 weeks every year. And the reason why I do that, because I know what this is. I know the power of it in a good way, and I know the power of it in a bad way. So that's what I'd say to that.
That's right on. I mean, I drove this morning, I picked my in-laws up at 5:50 in the morning and drive them to the airport. And I'm talking to them. We're talking about the latest riots happening in Minneapolis. And I said, have you ever seen Wag the dog? I said, first of all, that video, I'm talking about the cops detaining the young man. And first of all, I've never seen, if that's resisting arrest, how did he get out of that? That's a big cop holding him. And then the
Right.
woman says, I'm going to tase you, but you can hear her talk, but you don't hear a gunshot being fired
Right.
in the video.
Right.
But you hear her talking right afterwards.
Right.
And then he drives away, but we don't see it. Where's the footage of everything
Right.
else?
Right.
And these are valid questions as a journalist. As a journalist, these are the questions I'm asking all the time. This isn't, there's no agenda except to find truth. And we
Right.
can only find truth when we ask questions. But had I just gone into, I'm talking about the device, the phone,
Yeah.
had I just gone into that phone and believed what is being presented to me without taking a step back and asking these contextual questions,
Right.
I would continually be led astray, as I think many are right now. I was telling my father-in-law, I said, the difference between journalism and propaganda, journalism is a practice of presenting information equally
Yes.
pro and opposing at all times.
Yes.
Therefore, if both sides are not presented equally, it is called a different form of communication. It's called propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not pejorative against one or the other. That's the definition. If one piece of communication does not have a balanced opposition voice,
Right. Yes.
that's propaganda.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
I can't find on any cable
Yeah.
anywhere
Yeah.
anything that's not propaganda.
Right.
Fox
Right.
News is propaganda as much as CNN's propaganda.
Yes. Yes.
It's so crazy. So when you're saying like we live in this device, we're actually living in a world created for us to believe narratives that don't add to our peace, add to our humanness, add to our love, add to our relationships, teach us to be better humans. Or actually, all this narrative does is take away our humanness.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
someone's color or religion or race or gender or choice, like, give me a break. We're human souls. We are here to love one another, to be in communication and relationship with one
Yes.
another.
And I love that you brought that up with media, because I love this conversation, Lucas. What you say about context, but also contrast.
Yes.
We don't learn. I always tell people that, like, I don't know what I like to do. Go out and play, figure it out. Try this. That's completely opposite of this. And the same thing with news. The only way we can have discernment ourselves is contrast to both sides. And hey, I want that.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that. Jesus it was in contrasting conversations all the time. Okay, whether any of the believers believe in a story or not, he did some pretty epic things as far as debating.
Yes.
He brought things to the surface in a loving, kind way. I don't care if he's talking to, some prostitute, the Pharisees, John the Baptist. He was always pushing contrast and context.
That's good.
Right?
Yes.
In parables, he talks about this context. And that's what I think we're so missing here. And I agree with you. There's beauty in media.
Yeah.
We need to get there's beauty in journalism, but what you just said is so true. And going back to when you have context and you step back and pause, stop.
Yeah.
And then you conscious, like, no, I'm not going to just look at this. I'm going to look at this side. I want to learn and then make my decision. Your brain, there's a lot of neuroscience behind that, actually, Lucas, that our brain, when we get more contrasting type of activities happening, it gives us an opportunity to optimize our creative brain, our problem solving brain, our objective brain. It calms us down, gets us out of fight or flight, and puts us into a dopamine, serotonin state. And we get along better. Even when we're contrasting. Isn't that interesting? Even when we're willing to go opposite in a contrasting world, we get along better.
Yes.
The paradox with that, right?
And ironically, it's what we all want anyway.
Yes.
It's I don't know. I don't even know how this is gonna. I really don't know how this is gonna play out.
I know.
It's so unusual. We never know, but
Yeah.
this is a time like never before where people always say, and I've never accepted the argument where people say they've always thought it was the end of time. They've always thought it was the end of time. They actually that's a narrative given. That's perhaps propaganda. Have they? Tell me who has thought that. Give me the actual names, as opposed to like rhetoric that you're saying they've always thought that. This is a time where we're talking about the very DNA of humanity.
Yeah.
What is a human? This is maybe the question. What is a human?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, people that are working on these things are asking those questions, but people that are receiving them are not asking that question.
Right. Right. And whether it's on here, whether it's here, whether it's here, by the way, you guys have to make your own choice.
Yes.
Okay. But what I will say, if you don't step back in context, in contrast, and decide what you believe is true freedom, and what you believe is true humanness, and what you believe is true love, figure it out now.
Yep.
Because otherwise this mass, putting things in your body, listen, you're going to continue to give more of your humanness away. And that brings up a good question. What is being human? We're getting microdoses of moving away. Like I said, we're seeing genetic modifications, our DNA changing, not with our brain and our thoughts, but the things we're putting in our body, whether it be forcefully or not forcefully. And we have to be willing to at least step back and go, what is our boundary? What is our willingness to go more to this side or not? And for me, my boundary is 100% being 100% human in love, deep love, unconditional forgiveness, constant receiving, constant giving, laughter, noticing the strands on my nieces and nephews' head and how much they're growing. Just being, laughing, dancing with my family, creating food together. To me, that's a luscious life. And that to me is human. And that to me, when I stay there, Lucas, I can go into any space where I could be not well received. And I'm okay with that. Because I feel so powerful being human. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to put this out there for people that are saying, well, I want to go this direction. I don't see a lot of courage that's being exuded, that they're more in fear. They're in high anxiety. It's not my opinion. They're just saying, I'm in fear. I'm in fear. I'm like, so you're choosing what you believe is freedom, but you're having fear, anxiety, shaming. I'm not sure if I'm going to be well loved or received. I'm going to be rejected and abandoned, all these horrible negative vibrations. And I'm choosing this, disconnect from the matrix, in context, in contrast, in love. And I'm feeling, giving, receiving higher frequencies. So again, it's science. So I don't need to tell you what to do. What are you feeling?
Yes.
And before you know it, if that is being human, and if you don't figure that out sooner than later, Lucas, you'll disattach finally to the feeling. Because humans are emotion, and you will go down the IT, technology, computer side of human being, and you won't be able to tell the difference. So I believe there is a boundary.
Yes.
You better be listening to your emotions right now. That is your last part of being human.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
I saw a movie once, and of course, I'm going to forget the name of it. But it was two angels. I'm going to summarize it. But it was two angels sitting up in heaven watching human beings. This movie was probably 15, 20 years ago, down on earth. And it was showing different scenarios of people laughing and crying and in intense fighting and then happy and all this stuff. And one of the angels was like, dude, we've got it made. I'd hate to have that. Like, look at us. The other angel just kind of nodded his head. And he's like, I envy the human. And the angel's like, what are you talking about? We totally have it made. He said, because they have felt such deep sorrow and pain and anger and loss. They love so much. They love so much. I get chills every time I think about it, because he's like, I want to be human. I'm like, that's what makes us so powerful. He wanted that, and he supposedly had the life, right, in heaven. He's like, I covet that. I envy that. It was just, and again, I'm summarizing, and I gotta remember the name of the movie, but I just thought that was beautiful. And I think now the irony of that is that's what a lot of us humans are craving, but we've been lost in translation. We've had our freedoms taken away, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, and we're in the fringe. Lucas, I do believe that we're in the fringe, and we gotta connect with people to move outside that space and that power of being superhuman, which is being human. Right?
Man, so many things are flying through my head as you're sharing, and that is so powerful. I was thinking, Lauren and I were talking the other night of um, what is freedom?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
freedom usually I have, and I crave freedom more than everything, and yet I am free,
Yeah.
meaning I could leave right now. I could hang up with you. I could take my
Yeah.
family and we could drive to the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
and start anew.
Right.
I'm
Right.
free to do that right now,
Yeah.
but I don't choose that because I think I'm working for free, or in the past I'm like, I'm working for this conception of freedom. But if I'm free from or free to, is that freedom? Because
Right.
are there does freedom, that's why I think it's synonymous with love.
Yes.
It is infinite and unconditional. We are actually free.
Yes.
And then we're tricked into freedom in not being free.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, we're
Yes.
already free. We are free right now.
Right. And
Everyone's
that is the paradox of
so,
the last 12 months.
yes.
Okay, just pause, everybody. I hope you're hearing what he's saying. Like the paradox that we've been trying to get people to understand. We're fighting for your freedom. Context.
Yes.
Stop. I am free. I
Yes.
am free.
I'm
Why are
human.
you telling me that?
Exactly. Yes.
And I love because and it's true. I used to, you know what my old definition of freedom was, Lucas, was I can do what I want, when I want, how I want to do it, whenever I want to do it. That
Yeah.
used to be my old definition. As I've gotten older, and I would say in the last several years when people ask that to me again, and again, this is pre-COVID. Okay. I was like, that I am not tied to the ties that bind me in fear and hate, but in love and peace.
It gives me chills.
Period.
Yeah, it gives me chills.
Period. And that is my true 100% answer at this point.
Yeah.
And because I've lived that way, even before last year, that's why I can go, I was already free. What are you saying to me? And maybe that
Mm,
was why it was easy for me to unplug
yeah.
content, context,
Yeah.
pause. But you guys, it's not too late. If some of you, I'm not shaming any of you that are on this, because if some of you are like, I kind of was plugged in for a while, I get it.
Yeah.
It's so easy, you guys. It's easy. They're smart. By the way, evil has a lot of brilliance too. Okay, there's a lot of smart
Yes.
people, brilliant people. Like, don't shame yourself. But if it's just today that you're going, gosh, I actually get this now, Jennifer. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
It's not too late. And you've been feeling this weird, and I'm not sure why I'm feeling out of alignment. I feel like I am free, but I'm not. But there's stop, listen to what we're saying. If you have unconditional love and you're receiving and giving in peace, you've already been free.
Mm.
And that is true freedom. They're trying to make it about, if you do this, you get
Yeah.
A, B, and C.
And
It never is how it works, you guys. Freedom is never, it's about being,
yes.
doing, then having. You guys, you are a being that has just amazing amount of infinite energy in you. I mean, you're made from the universe. You've always had that vibration in you. All this noise has just continued to dampen you for you not to believe it.
Yes.
But you have the freedom. So now that you get it right now, you guys, if you're like, oh, I hear what they're saying, I've been feeling kind of unrest, that's your body going, it's over here.
Yes.
You have it, girlfriend, boyfriend, you have it.
Yes.
Right?
100%. I've been called more and more to this concept of like homesteading and
Yeah.
and land, and because you're right, once you first of all, we can't lose our freedoms, because there is the particular, this is fascinating. So Plato and Aristotle had a debate, and the
Right.
debate is pictured in the painting of the Masters by Raphael, and Plato's pointing in the air like this, and Aristotle has his hand out like this. And what the debate was, is there just universal truth? Are there particular truths? And so Plato only believed in universal truth and didn't believe in particular truths. And Aristotle did not believe in universal truth, but only believed in particular truths.
Right.
So when I say freedom, that is a universal truth.
Yes.
Is the sun free? Is the earth free? Yeah. Then freedom is. Are we free? Yeah. Because we're part of the system. Freedom is.
Yeah.
Then there's freedoms, particulars. And then we have to ask, where do the freedoms derive from? And who puts the context around what those freedoms are? Government? Government doesn't make us free. By even the very existence of it, it makes us less free.
Yes.
They put roadways. They tell us speed limits. I mean, literally, I don't want to, I'm not a nihilist, but I'm saying, like, let's put in context freedom and then freedoms.
Yeah.
And we are forgetting that freedoms are derivatives of freedom.
Yes. I love it.
This is very important.
Oh my gosh. I was watching a documentary on a Holocaust survivor, and she said, they're like, oh my gosh, she went to Auschwitz, like, how horrible. I'm just like, no. And they're like, what? You know, like, okay, we're gonna hear something weird.
Yeah.
So I found my freedom there. And they're like, what do you, I mean, they're just like, where's this interview going? You know, she's like, you know, they could take everything from me because I chose not to hate and actually choose who I was, and I could still work on that. She's like, actually, when everything's taken away from you, it makes it real easy to find out who you are. I mean, she just had this whole different thought process on this camp that took everything from her. And she's like, I found my freedom and my power in a camp that took, quote, everything from me.
Yes.
I mean, think about that, you know, and I'm listening to this. And again, the paradox of that in one of the worst concentration camps, the torture, it's like, no, I found my beautiful freedom there. And I learned how to really love. I'm like, really love? I'm like, contrast. I mean, going back to what we just said, and she, with the love, she truly felt, she said this, and she's like, I truly felt free there because I knew they couldn't take away me, my soul. I protected that so much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it just, like, this light went off. I'm like, here's this woman that lived through horrificness that she could say that. But again, contrast, she's like, when everything's ripped away, you're at rock bottom. Yeah, we were kind of at rock bottom, but you figure out real quick who you are if you allow it. And you figure out real quick, what is it being truly human? What really matters to you? You know what? God bless her. But I think about, and I put that in my own life, the times that I've had everything taken away. I've lost money or a boyfriend, whatever. Like, oh my gosh, contrast. And then I realized when I let go of that, and I still had me, and I could love, really love. And it's a process, you guys. I'm not saying it's always easy, but I had so much freedom in that. And you guys, it's never too late when you have that emotion, like something's got to give. Do it now before we become dehumanized. You guys, that's not trying to be over dramatic. You know, I'm not, you know, but if you're feeling this right now, awesome. If you're like, Jennifer, I get it. Oh my gosh, I've been really plugged in. That's okay. I'm like, we've all been plugged in at different times, but be willing to take this moment, right? These human emotions saying, not that way. Go back to love. Go back to this freedom you've always had. Even in the worst of times, everyone can say that. Nelson Mandela said something very similar when he was in jail for how many years?
That's right.
You know what I mean? You guys, this is not my opinion. These are people that have lived through, you know, really great times and really, really bad times. They probably wanted to die at one point.
Right. Right.
Right. You know, so just take that, you guys. It's never too late till it's too late. You know, I'm trying to be balanced here, and I'm not trying to be over dramatic, but there is this space of us going back to, do you want to stay human? Because that is your superpower.
Yeah. Well,
and what do you believe that to be?
To piggyback off what you just said, you know, the person with weight problems right now because they've yet to choose differently, and then they get they get diabetes, and then they have to lose a leg, amputated. There becomes a point where the leg's gone. You know, there is a finality to those to those points. And I think for many, that's where I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't
Yeah.
know, because there is a finality. I can always still choose, but
Yeah.
people that have quote unquote chosen can't
Yeah.
choose to not choose that anymore.
Yeah.
And that's
And I,
amazing.
and
But not to shame them. We love
yeah.
it. It's like
Right. Right.
the soul can't be
We're,
touched.
we are in such, Lucas, we are in such a really unique time in history. And you guys, and this is not trying to say we've had a lot of history, but things are happening very quickly. And maybe that's partly we're in a higher technology world than we were back in the Roman Empire. It doesn't matter. But things are happening exponentially fast.
Yes.
And there is a point of no return on certain things, you guys. So I don't want to paint this picture of, I think you guys get really super honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Even if today you just journal, like, I'm not sure what I told you, great. Pause, reflect,
Right.
context, just start just taking this moment to figure it out, because you guys, and I do think there's a finality. I'm not sure what that is, Lucas. I'm not sure. And listeners,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be all fatalistic. What I am saying, you guys, if you don't get what's going on, obviously you've been under a rock a little bit.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
get that, even if
And I
you're
think
plugged
my
in,
audience
right?
hopefully gets it. I think they're, but yes, I mean, keep going. I mean, totally.
Yeah, it's just, but I just think that most people get the seriousness of it, but some are so plugged in that they think that's, again, give me my freedom. This is where the human is supposed to be going. But if you step back and look at human beings, look at what true freedom is, what we've been really, really nailing today, you guys, if you get nothing else, get that freedom is truly love. That's all it
Yes.
is.
Yes, that's right.
It's all it's ever been from the
Yeah.
beginning of time. And all these examples we're mentioning, we're naming, that is how I
Mm.
love what you talk about all the time, Lucas, awaken your soul, and you actually feel the vibration of Mother Earth
Yes.
working through you. And you're like, I don't know if you knew this, Lucas, because I'm a neuroscience geek, but I always tell people that if you look at all the interactions in the human body right now, okay, that happen every day, whether you're resting, breathing, grabbing an ice cube, hugging a friend, doing work at the computer, pooping, peeing, eating, laughing, it does not matter. The billions of interactions that happen in your body, did you know if you extracted the energy that each of those interactions take in 1 second out of your body, it would be enough energy to turn the earth for 1 week. That's
Whoa.
how much energy we
Wow.
extrapolate
Wow.
in one day. You, my friend,
Yeah.
in 1 second, if it all came out at once, could turn the freaking earth for a week.
Wow.
You guys get that. So what I'm saying is this is happening in a 24-hour period. It repeats every single day. Do you not think, if we keep pulling back to what we just first talked about, the beginning of this conversation, your humanness,
Yeah.
and you amp up this fire and all these things inside, meditation, diet, exercise,
Yeah.
your truth, like just letting it be on all 5 cylinders, you don't think that you can't be superhuman and get everything you want by just being that person that already all this amazing energies inside of you? Hell yeah. Just think about that. The first time I remember hearing that, I'm like, damn, I've a lot of great energy in me. Now you just learn to
That's right.
influence it, right? You
Yes.
learn to
Yes.
maneuver it and influence it. But moving it always back to that energy is our freedom. That energy is truly what
Hmm.
makes us human, is love. No one can experience it like we can. Because even, by the way, I love my dog. It's not that, but we humans experience things differently, right? And if people just get that, just
It's
know you have that power. Know it.
so 100% right on. Is chi, this is I'm gonna move for a second. Is chi life force in what Buddhism? The chi is
Yes.
the life force, right?
Yes.
So then I was thinking energy. What if it's a play on words that it's inner chi?
Yeah.
Your energy is actually your inner life force.
Oh, totally.
And when we have low energy, it's because we are
Low in chi.
low in chi. We're so
Yeah.
out of it. And
Yes.
more and more I'm playing with words and like,
Yeah.
because they're all, if we all spoke one language at one time, if we're Babel and all these things, and then concepts haven't changed.
Yeah.
Only what we perceive as our articulation of the vibrations have changed.
Yes. I love that you just said that, because I tell people that all the time. Look at words. Words are everything. Words have great vibration, and how we
Yes.
receive them and how we give them and how
Yes.
we send them in context. Again, I
Right.
love it. Going back to, I love your word, just stepping back and looking at that. It gives you so much energy when you
Yes.
start looking at, the vibration of words differently, love differently, humanicity differently. Now I'm
Yes.
making up words. Humanicity. I don't even know if that's a
Yeah,
freaking word,
I love
but I'm
it.
using it
Well,
right now.
humanicity. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
really
I know, right? I'm just gonna start making up words, but I actually do that because, this is a side note. My mom never let me swear. When I was younger, we'd have our mouth washed out with soap, so I always made up words that sounded like swear words. Not that humanicity is a swear word, but I've made up words long time ago. But what I realize is, when I make up words, they're very in line with what I'm trying to put out to the word and the world. Isn't it crazy? So it's not crazy. So when I say stuff like that, the paradox, when I say, isn't it crazy? But no, it's not. It's not coincidence. Things like this are happening. The fact that we're here,
wonderful.
the fact that whoever's listening right now is listening right now, Lucas.
Yeah.
And maybe if just one person gets it, like, I am already free because I am truly love and a part of this co-creation of the universe, and I have enough energy in me to, like, turn the earth for a week. That's enough to me. I'm like, good. Kudos for you. Namaste.
That's right. That's right. Well,
Wow.
this is so good. I mean, book should be written. We should write a book about
Lucas and I we're gonna think about co-writing a book. You tell us what you guys think about this
seriously.
after the episode. Maybe we might have to do that.
That is so powerful and so. I just want to bathe in this. This is where I'm saying I've become less. I don't know. I just want to bathe in these concepts more and, like, be around people that talk about, like, this is so nourishing and just so beautiful.
It takes so much life and put it in you. And I agree. Bathe in love, you guys. Bathe in your freedom, because you actually have that right now. And I would agree. And be around people that want to bathe with you.
Yes. Yes.
Because I agree. What's going on right now, you guys, it is us just masterminding, co-creating, bathing in each other's love. And it makes me feel so unstoppable. You could take away everything from me today, and just being in this moment, Lucas, I know I'm like, I still got the goods.
Yeah, that's right. That's
still
right.
Got the goods.
Got it. I wanted to switch gears and talk about what we're doing this coming Thursday, because I'm going to edit this. I'll probably get this out tomorrow, so we'll have a week's time, and this content will always be relevant. But share what we're doing together. I'm really excited.
I'm so excited. So everyone, you have to be there. Okay. I'm assuming Lucas will probably put a link kind of in this podcast as well to sign up for this amazing summit. So we are doing 90 minutes of power next Thursday. Okay. April 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this summit is called Elevate Your Life, Awaken Your Soul. I love this. Elevate your life and awaken your soul. And this summit is for you. If you feel any of the stuff we've talked about today, you're like, I'm questioning that. I want to be human again. This summit's for you. If you are floundering, if you are overwhelmed and exhausted by all the noise, and you're trying to figure out what you want to bring to the table to the world, if you want to find out what your true divine is, your power is, your unique gifts and impact that you want to create to the world, this is for you. If you want to stop faking it and actually step into you every single day, this summit is for you. If you want to get rid of all the BS, all the shaming to yourself, all the ridicule out there, and be around people that want to support you to live the best version of you right now, the summit is for you. And then some.
So good. I can't wait. And I truly, you and Tracy, I love you both so much. And there's so much, we're meeting people all the time, and, everyone brings their own energy, but both of you, I describe as the clean energy. It's what I want to be around. It's what I want to breathe in. It's what I want to create with. Like, you are who I want to create with. So thank you. And I'm excited, and everyone watching, you or listening, sign up. It's free, and it is going to, it was free because why not? We are free. So it's going to be free. And
it's going to make you aware of how
yes.
freaking free you are and the power you have right now
Yes.
to do what you want in love. That's what I'll say. We're just going to help you see that. And I really believe that, you guys, there's going to be a lot of healing in transcending that's going to happen in that 90 minutes. And I'm not kidding you. I believe in magic, in energy of people coming together. Don't miss this, because Tracy, Lucas, and I are ready to help, support, and also receive as well. Game on.
And before we close here, how can people find you, follow you, love on you after this podcast?
100%. So I'm very active on Instagram and Facebook the most, and LinkedIn, but it's all under Jennifer Watson Leadership. And I answer all my own DMs. And if you have questions on this episode or have other inquiries on ways I can support you, I do have a free discovery call that is on my link in my link tree in my Instagram bio. So if you want that, great. Or if you just want me to root you on, and just come and DM me. I love connecting with all of you. I love to serve you, and I love just being and co-creating with people like this. So love to all of you.
Love it. Well, I'll put all those in the show notes, and I love you, sister. Thank you.
Yes. Mwah.
And I'll see you Thursday.
Yes. Woo-hoo!
Awesome. Thank you. All right, guys, sign up for that summit, this summit that's coming up this Thursday. And if you're watching this on a replay later and it's past the summit, connect anyway. We'll get you the link to the recordings if that becomes available. And as always, my dear brothers and sisters, find that place inside yourself, find the love, find the beauty. Everything is working out exactly how it should. Everything is going to be okay. Whatever people are choosing, you do not let fear pull you into the current. You stand in your sovereign ground. You release fear. You receive love. And everything is going to be okay. I'm Lucas Mack. This is the Golden Rule Revolution. I bless you all, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. For support in your journey, go to my website, lucasmack.com.